All right, so good morning, and let's get started. So we're going to start in Sukhasana with the crossed legs and having a block or two. Oop. One more thing, you're sitting cross legs though. Always one more thing. And here we are. Using those arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in the hip sockets. Big inhale and exhale. And slowly release with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees. And pouring down the sides of the neck off the tops of the shoulders. Lengthening up through the spine. Inhale and exhale, softening or closing your eyes. Bringing your attention even more inside yourself. And then let's reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Breathing those arms up overhead. And we'll reach up to one side and then the other. Inhaling and exhaling. Sitting bones reach for the floor while the side of the body reaches up through the arms, through the fingertips to the ceiling. Remember, you can be on your own timing here. And a couple more times with these reaches. And then we'll finish with both arms up overhead, stretching out the hands, and a big wide press down, coming forward and over. Inhaling into the back of the body, exhale, pouring. And coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. And then we'll remember which leg we had crossed in front. We're going to Andrasana. So I'll be the mirror here. We're going to bring the left leg down, cross the right leg over. Maybe keeping your left leg straight, maybe not crossing the right leg over, however you need to get into this shape. And just take a moment, balancing the weight on the sitting bones as evenly as you can. And we will twist to the right. Big inhale and exhale and twist. And then reaching back through the right arm. See, okay, you can see me in the mirror back there if you need to. Pressing the back of that right arm away into the half binding. Reaching around with that right arm, sliding across the sacrum toward the left hip. One more breath here. And coming back to the center, and we will change the cross of the legs. Taking a moment, arriving here, balancing the weight on the sitting bones. So maybe the left side's a little lifted up, but doing your best to reach that left side down, long through the top of the head, twisting to the left. Inhale and exhale. Then reaching back through that left arm, pressing the back of the left arm away. And wrapping that left arm around into the half binding. Sliding the back of the hand across toward the right hip. And breathing here. And one more deep breath. Coming back to the center. And then back to the crossed legs with that other leg crossed in front. And let's reach wide through the fingertips. Breathe those arms up overhead and coming back down once to get settled here again. And then let's take the side bend up and over to the right, bringing that left arm up. And a big lift through the top of the head, coming back up. Right arm up and over to the left. And coming up. And let's pour forward again. Breathing across the back of the body. And let's come up Unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. And stretching the legs out in front in Dandasana. Using the arms behind, lengthening your spine, extending as long and straight through the legs as you can, and we will come forward any amount, pressing from behind, maybe bringing the hands forward onto the legs or onto the floor. Inhaling into the center of the body, exhale, pouring out through the heels, pouring out through the top of the head. And then coming up, and let's make our way to downward facing dog. And walking the dog or anything else you want to do there. Remember to keep that breath moving. And then finishing with that, to find the best downward facing dog you can do at this moment. Inhaling up to the sitting bones, exhale, pouring down the backs of the legs. And if you need to, come down to child's pose for a moment. And then we're going to take like maybe a step closer to the hands, depends on how wide you are, so that you have a slightly less wide downward facing dog. Maybe you can feel those heels grounding down a little bit more solidly. And we're going to see if we can take that left hand over to the right ankle or shin. So we have a little twist to the right in the shoulders. Left hand reaches back. It could also stop here in the center of your mat. But maybe you can reach that right ankle or shin. And then really lift those sitting bones up in a way, trying to pull out of your right shoulder. And let's try that on the other side. And if you need to come down into that child's pose or onto all fours for a moment, go ahead. And then as we're ready, we're going to try taking the right hand to the left ankle or shin. Maybe just the right hand to the center. This is also a good place to put your hand and kind of get your balance and see what's going on. And then maybe reaching for that left leg. And try to pull those sitting bones up and back. And breathe. And we will put our right hand back, balancing that weight out on 4 limbs again. And then bending the knees, coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And sliding forward onto your stomach into the Sphinx. Elbows under the shoulders, reaching out through the fingertips. Really flatten those hands into the floor. Flatten that wrist against the floor. And breathing here. Up the front, down the back, out the toes. And then coming down, pulling the arms back to the Cobra position. Squeeze the elbows in, pull them back. Hands land near your ribs. And then small Cobra, working the back muscles, hands help a little. And then taking those hands off, lifting the feet off a little bit, maybe as well. Floating Cobra. Put the hands down, put the tops of the feet down. Give a little press, stretch a little deeper. And rolling down. Let's do that once more. Coming up in your small Cobra, back muscles work, hands help a little. And really engaging those muscles as you take the hands off the floor. Maybe the feet lift a little as well, holding and breathing here. And hands back down, feet back down, press up. Coming down. And coming up to downward facing dog. Maybe a little cat and cow along the way. And let's lift our right leg up, reaching through the heel, reaching down through the left heel, and through to the lunge. Nice long line, top of the head out through the left heel, and we will take a twist to the right, toward our front leg. And then let's do the half binding here, pressing that right arm back a little more, reaching it around, sliding the outer right hand down the left outer hip if it reaches that far. And keep twisting in the torso, not just pulling with the arm. And just release that right arm to the floor, bringing the left knee down. Coming up in Anjali-asana, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And let's circle the arms all the way around. And namaste in front. Seated goddess, turning the right foot in 45 degrees. Swivel on that left knee. You can be here holding with your hands, maybe sitting onto that left heel or sitting all the way back behind the left heel onto the floor. Wedge that right arm inside the right leg, pulling wide knee to knee, long through the top of the head. And then expand the arms. So we make a little twist to the left toward the back of the mat and really press the back of that left arm away. Press the back of the right arm away as well against your right leg. And bringing the hands around to namaste. Unswiveling back to the lunge. And let's step back to the plank, through the vinyasa, any version, downward facing dog. And then we will do that on the left. Lifting the left leg, reaching through that heel, reaching down through the right heel. Big inhale and exhale through to the lunge. And we will twist to the left. And then really pressing the back of that left arm away and taking it around into the half bind. Rolling the left shoulder out, reaching with the left hand, but still twisting through the spine. And then just bringing the left hand to the floor, bringing the right knee down. Coming up in Untitled, the kneeling lunge. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the back. And circling those arms. Namaste in front. And seated goddess. Turning those left toes in. Swivel on the right knee. Maybe just holding with the hands here. Sitting onto the right heel, sitting back onto the floor. Wedging that left arm inside the left leg. Long through the top of the head. And then expanding those arms, making a twist to the right toward the back of the mat. Really press the back of that right arm away. Press the left arm away into the leg. And breathing deeply. And around to Namaste again. And unswiveling the legs back to the lunge. Stepping back to the plank. Through the vinyasa, any version. Downward facing dog. And then looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Lengthen out a little more. And then pouring over. Deep breath or two here in the forward bend. Coming up to standing. Into the front body, yawn. Take a moment, deepening that. And then a big press down with the arms long through the top of the head. Let's circle the shoulders, 3, 2, and 1. Other direction, 1, 2, 3. One more front to the back. Interlocking those fingers behind. Lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Lift a little more, coming over. Pressing out through the hands. And then release those hands. A concave back, folding over. We're going to step back with the left leg, so we're at the right lunge. And coming up in the warrior 1, or it could be the high lunge. And either grounding that left heel down or not, coming up. Tailbone scoops down and forward a little, upper body comes up and over. And then let's circle the arms all the way around and back up overhead. Namaste in front. And namaste into the floor. Continuing, stepping to the plank. This time we're going to lower ourselves to the floor. And so I'm just going to chaturanga down. And then we will come to that Cobra position. And lengthening up in that small Cobra. Holding that. And then lifting the hands and lifting the legs. And coming down. And then bringing those forearms forward into the Sphinx. Reaching long through the toes, and we're going to scorpion tail. Reaching really long through the right leg and bend that right knee. And then take the right foot over, touching it to the floor, lifting the right knee up. The right elbow can come up off the floor any amount. And then coming back. So big lift up and over, reaching through the left toes, bend the knee. Lifting up and over, kind of like doing dog at the high fire hydrant down here on the floor. And coming back. Let's do 2 or 3 more sets depending on how quickly you're moving. So finishing right and left for yourself, it doesn't matter where I am or anybody else is. We're all going to end up in downward facing dog in the next 15 seconds or so. And once you're finished, we're back at the center. Take a breath or 2 in that Sphinx, evening out your 2 sides. And then peeling up to downward facing dog. And if you'd like to put in another through the vinyasa here, go ahead. And let's lift that right leg up, reaching long through the heel. We'll go all the way to dog at the high fire hydrant. And then drawing a big circle with that right knee. Keep pressing back into the downward facing dog as we let that right knee come forward. Out to the parallel side, big lift up and over. Let's do that twice more. Keep breathing. Oh, I think we need once more. 4 times all together. And then maybe a hover plank if your wrists are holding out. Hover plank, knee forward. Swooping up to 3-legged dog. And through to the lunge. Warrior number 2, the lateral lunge. Rounding that left foot down at 90 degrees. Coming up, make sure everything arrived, especially that right knee tracking over the foot. Sitting bones going down to the floor, long through the top of the head. Settling into that breath again. Dancing warrior, bringing that right arm up. And then into the side angle, Ardha Konasana. Maybe right elbow on the knee, maybe coming lower. Keep the left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Long through the top of the head, long through that right outer hip, through the left leg into the left outer hip. And then half binding with that left arm, pressing it back and reach around. Sliding that left hand down the outer right hip, letting it encourage your sitting bone to go down. Maybe that's enough. Maybe the right hand comes from underneath and you do the full binding, getting hold of the left hand. Keep breathing. And then we'll expand to the triangle. Release the hands and pressing down with the right hand, pulling up with the left, pulling up with that right leg. Maybe an extra little bit of lift to get that space and then deepening into your triangle. Really feeling the knot binding. And then to the lunge. Let's come up in that warrior one or high lunge once again. Smoothing out that breath. And a big circle around with the arms. Namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank, vinyasa or not, downward facing dog. And then taking 3 deep breaths in downward facing dog. Or child's pose. Looking between those hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up. Folding over. Taking a breath or two here in the forward bend. Coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And pressing those arms down, long through the top of the head. All right. And we'll do all that around on the other side. So let's circle the shoulders, up the front, down the back. 3, 2, 1. Other direction. One more front to the back. Interlocking those fingers behind. Lifting up. Up and over a little more. Squeeze those upper arms together and coming forward. Release the hands. Concave back, folding over. Stepping back with the right leg. And then warrior one for the high lunge. And breathing those arms all the way around and a back up overhead. Namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Stepping back to that plank, and we will lower ourselves to the floor. And then we'll do that Cobra, coming up in the small Cobra with the hands pressing, trying to hold as much of that height as you can as you take the hands off and the feet lift. Breathing. Calming down. Bringing the arms forward into the Sphinx. And then we will scorpion tail again. Let's start with the left leg this time. Reaching long through both legs, bend that left knee. Reaching up and over, letting that left elbow come up any amount. And then pulling yourself back. Reaching long, bend the right leg, up and over. Wherever you can go, try not to let the knee be down, but up. And coming back. And then we'll do that 2 or 3 more times. You can go a little more quickly and smoothly, but see if you can still be very deliberate. That reach, that bend of the leg and up and over. And make sure you finish evenly on the right and the left for yourself. And then when you have finished there, coming to that Sphinx again, taking a few breaths, evening out the 2 sides. And then we will peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. You can put in another through the vinyasa here if you want it. All right, let's lift our left leg up. And dog at the high fire height. So we're going to do 4 circles all together. First one, maybe especially slowly. As you bring that left knee forward, keep hinging back in your downward facing dog. Out to the parallel side, up and over, hold those arms steadily. And then 3 more times, not being in a rush. We're not just wiggling the leg in the hip joint, we're drawing a big circle with the knee, coming all the way back to fire hydrant dog. And also maybe not knowing how to count to 4 because we were talking. All right, so as you are finished, we will hover plank left knee forward. Swooping that left leg back up behind you, 3-legged dog. Through to the lunge. And coming up in the warrior number 2, the lateral lunge on the left. Making sure everything arrived. And then we get to settle into our breath again. Widening, deepening, refining the pose. And dancing warrior, bringing that left arm up. And into the side angle, Parsva Konasana, big reach out. Maybe elbow on the knee, maybe going lower. Thinking more of going long than over. Long line through the top of the head. Pulling that left sitting bone a little down and then back through that right leg. Pressing the right arm back, twisting a little more up toward the ceiling to the right, wrapping that right arm around into the half binding, sliding the back of the hand down that left outer hip. Maybe that's good there. Or the left hand comes underneath from the front and finds the right hand. Keep lengthening and breathing, almost like you're trying to escape as you lengthen and pull up and open. And then we're going to expand to the triangle. Get that left hand on the floor, the ankle somewhere secure. Bring the right arm up, expanding up. Maybe even coming up a little extra high. And then deepening into the triangle. Keeping that breath going. And then coming around back to the lunge. And warrior number one, or the high lunge again. And circling the arms all the way around. And namaste in front. Namaste into the floor. Stepping back to the plank through the vinyasa, any version. And downward facing dog, 3 deep breaths there. And then coming down, sitting back in child's pose. Breathing into the back of the body, smoothing things out. We're also replenishing our strength at the same time. So our breath can be soothing and easeful, but it's also energizing, building our strength and resilience. And let's slide forward onto our stomach into that Sphinx for a moment. And then we'll do that floating Cobra once again. Coming down, pull the hands back to the Cobra position. Pressing into the floor to come up. Engage the muscles, and as you take those hands and feet off, how much of that height can you hold? And breathe at the same time. And setting the hands and feet on the floor. Give a press up again, getting that more stretchy cobra. And then coming down. And then we will bend both legs and come to the bow pose, Dhanurasana. So this is a perfectly good bow pose right here. Or maybe up in the Sphinx with the interlocked fingers or getting hold of those ankles. Take a moment feeling those two long parallel sides. And then taking those two long parallel sides. How round and full can you make that breath? That breath is helping you let go of tension, find a little ease. It's also sending strength through the body. And coming down. Letting go, melting into the floor. Let's see, let's take a deliberate turn of the head, rotating the head to the right, putting the left ear on the floor. And then turning the head to the left, putting the right ear on the floor. And healing ourselves up. And we will be going to the pigeon. So you can fly to the pigeon. You could also waterfall to the wild thing to the pigeon, or you could just bring that right leg forward to the pigeon. All right. Coming up and down with facing dog if you're going to come along the long road with me. And let's lift that right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrant. So you could go to the pigeon from here, or maybe putting in a waterfall to the wild thing. And if you're waterfalling here, making our way back, maybe that right leg will lift again. And right knee to the right elbow to the pigeon. Inhaling up the front, exhale, pouring down the neck. And then coming forward and over. And a few more breaths here. Coming up, reaching through the left toes. We're going to turn to the angle pose, Konasana. Big stretch out, a little like you were standing on those feet, and the wide leg forward bend as we come forward. And coming up. And let's go around on the other side. So if you're taking a longer road up, we come in downward facing dog. Deep breath here. Lifting the left leg up. And dog at the high fire hydrant. Really be here. And then maybe waterfall into the wilds there. And making your way back, left leg lifts, so maybe comes right through to the pigeon. And then left knee to left elbow to left wrist to that pigeon. And here we are. Taking a few breaths up and over in the back bending Cobra action. And then coming forward. And a few more breaths here. And coming up, and we'll reach through that right leg. Into Konasana, the angle. And let's turn toward the left leg. Let's see, I'm not being the mirror. I'm turning to my real left leg. And then reaching with that right arm down that left leg. Reach a little more, reaching back through the right heel. And then bringing that left hand to meet the right. Trying to keep that right sitting bone anchoring down, reaching through the right heel. And if the right sitting bone is coming up, oh well, still feel the weight reaching toward the floor. Up. Let's go to the other side, turning to face that right leg, reaching with the left hand down the right leg, reaching that left sitting bone to the floor, reaching through the left inner heel. And then bringing that right hand to meet the left, coming over the right leg. And still looking for a little feeling of reaching back through the left leg, left sitting bone reaching for the floor. And coming up, bring those legs in, little squeeze in, and let's make our way to Shavasana. So as often happens, we've only got a minute or two. So another option besides coming down to Shavasana, maybe it would feel better to just go into that Sukhasana, the crossed legs, and take a little seated meditation, or coming down to the floor. And letting the eyes soften and close. Really feeling the weight of the body into the floor. Letting go of everything that you don't need in this moment. And if you're lying down on the floor, you can let go of all effort, trusting that floor to hold you up. And then you can let go of anything that you think you need to do or that you need to think about. Any decisions you think you need to make, you don't need to. Just be here now. Inhaling and exhaling. And taking one or two more deep breaths. And then breathing back into your body, maybe circling the wrists and ankles. Stretching those arms up overhead. Oh, bend your knees. And gently making your way up to sitting. Sitting in any comfortable position, taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming. The recording here.